Okay, guys, so today we get into the tougher part of the Corona season. We've been solving quadratics, anything with x squared in it, and we've got two different ways. So we've always started out with, we're saying the quadratic formula. So I'm just going to write down the quad formula. And this works for everything. X equals opposite b plus or minus square root, b squared minus 4ac. You guys know the routine all over 2a. Again, as long as you know what a, b, and c are, you can use this for anything as long as you get set equal to 0. Then after that, we say, well, if you're good at factoring, you can actually solve by factoring. So we've been dealing with factoring. Now, we've been dealing with the double bubble, which has been easy for most of you guys. And today we're going to deal with when a, the first number, is not invisible 1. And that's what makes this one so tough. All right, so let's take a look at the first one, and you guys will recognize this. Again, we've factored before, so the only thing that's changed is now it's set equal to 0. You have to get it set equal to 0. Okay, so the first thing that I got to make sure you guys understand is what makes this tough is when a, the first thing, is equal to something other than 1. Usually, we get stuff that looks like this. X squared plus 12x minus 8 or something like that. That's the stuff that we have no problem with. So the issue isn't that. It's when there's a number in front of the x squared. That's a problem. So the first thing we're always going to try, is hopefully you can just divide the whole thing by a certain number. So you're always going to test to see if you can divide everything. Remember, the rule is whatever you do to one whole side, you have to do to the other. Now, the great thing about 0 on the other side is 0 can be divided by anything. So I'm really looking at these three numbers. If these three numbers can be divided by 3, you're basically going to reduce the equation, which is allowed because you're doing it to both sides. So if that's true, you basically reduce it. This is GCF. Remember these days, you just take the 3 out, and it just reduces everything. Okay? That's it. Once you get there, you're right back to, and I'm going to highlight this to make sure you guys kind of see what's going on. You don't even look at the 3, you just look at what's in here. We're right back to double bubble. So the first, and you're going to hope for, is that you can reduce each one of these numbers by the front number. So always test to see if you can divide everything by the front number. If that happens, you're going to be all set. So again, we go back to our regular stuff. And again, the 3 really doesn't do much. Let me change the color. The 3 doesn't do much. It just goes for the ride. So I'm just going to work on the inside, the red. So we just double bubble it. You guys know the routine. XX. Oh, that was my door slamming because of the wind. Drag the plus sign over. This tells me they are different, so that's plus. This has to be minus. And then we need numbers that multiply to 4. It's either going to be 1 of 4 or 2 times 2. So it's going to be the 1 and the 4, and that takes care of that. Again, the 3 out in front really doesn't do anything, and I'll show you why. The rule is you set each thing equal to 0. 3 equal to 0 makes absolutely no sense, so that's basically gone. You don't have to worry about it. You know we're going to set this one equal to 0. I'm just going to skip it because you know what ends up being x plus 1. And again, I'm going to skip it, set it equal to 0, it's solve, and it always ends up being the opposite sign. So just like you did before. The only new thing is when you see a number in front, try to reduce everything by that number, and then you're right back to the same stuff. Okay, that's part 1. That's when it's called basically greatest common factor or reducing the equation. Easy money. The problem is, of course, when they don't reduce. Okay, so this is the one that's going to drive everybody crazy. Okay. And again, we're trying to get into stuff that you guys are going to see next year, hopefully. So let's check this one out. Again, as soon as we see something like this, we're going to test it out. Can I divide by 2? Yeah. Can I divide by 2? It's not even going to happen because I know 3 divided by 2 is a decimal, 5 divided by 2 is a decimal. So right away, I already know that I can't reduce this. So I've got it. Oops, sorry about that, guys. So I've got a number in front. I can't reduce it. So we have to go back to our old days, which is the dreaded dun, 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 you got it, the rainbow. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but this is where things like that, special effects. You take the front number, right, and you multiply it times the last number, the rainbow. And of course, that gives us another number over here, 10, which is what we're going to use. So we're going to use 1 times 10, 2 times 5. So it's the same stuff. Now, remember, it's still double bubble. The good thing about this is you really aren't using anything crazy. Remember, we did GCF and crazy stuff back in the chapter where we factor and everything. But this one stays double bubble. Now, when we have a number front, we just use it 2x, 2x. Usually it's xx. Now we just take and split it. No big deal. Okay, but here's the deal. Drag the plus sign. That says they're different. But instead of using 5, which I usually do, I use the rainbow. So it's these. So what's going to get me to 3? The 2 and the 5. Okay? And again, the rainbow reminds us we multiplied by 2. Right? That's why we did it. So now at the end, you have to divide by 2. Most of you guys remember this. One of these can be divided by 2. And you have to basically ask yourself, well, which one? You know if I put 5 divided by 2, it's not going to happen. So if I try to divide this by 2, it's not going to happen because of the 5. So it's not going to be there. So this one goes by 2. Okay? All right, here we go. So 2 divided by 2, 1x. I'm just going to call it x. Negative 2 divided by 2, negative 1. So it kind of reduces one of them. The other one, can't do anything with. Okay, so this is where it gets tough, you guys. We know the rule is I'm supposed to set these equal to 0. So I factored first using rainbow. Okay, not a big deal. Still double bubble, still dragging the signs. I'm using a different number because I multiplied by 2, and now I divide by 2. Now, second step is set them equal to 0 and solve. Now, we already know every time it's this type of thing, it's always going to be the opposite sign. But when I have a number here, it's not just going to be negative 5. I can't just squiggle and say, oh, it's negative 5. It's not true because I got a 2 there. So I'm going to make sure you guys see officially what we're supposed to do, which is take this and set it equal to 0, which is what we're supposed to do with the other one. We just cheat now and solve. So again, subtract 5. That's what we normally do. But because I have a 2x, I now have to divide. So for the first time, I actually get fraction answer. That's my second answer. Okay, so this is factor it with a rainbow because the front number doesn't reduce. And that's just double bubble, but I have to divide at the end. Set them equal to 0 and solve. This one I cheat, just do opposite signs. This one I actually have to do. Okay, we'll do another one of these just to make sure you guys see. Okay. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. I just kind of snuck this one on here. All right, so if we think about what we're doing, we're taking a look at this. We're saying, oh, it's a number in front of x. Should be squared, guys. Sorry about that. Kind of made that up fast. Should be an x squared. So the number in front of x, I'm going to try and reduce it. Can I reduce this by 5? No. 3 doesn't go into 5. 8 doesn't go into 5. So I'm going to have to use the rainbow. I'm not going to put the beautiful rainbow up there. But this is what I should be doing right here. Multiply the front number times the last number to get me a new number. I don't care about signs. And start doing your fact. So we got 1 times 40. 2 times 20. No 3. 4 times 10. 5 times 8. No 6. No 7. And then 8 reverses. So there's our all factors. All right. Again, it's always a double bubble. Don't wear that GCF, thank goodness. Okay, normally it'd be xx here, but because we got a number in front, we're just going to do 5x, 5x. Okay, stick to your routine, you guys. Don't make it more complicated. Put the plus sign up in there. This tells me those signs are different, so if that's plus, this has to be minus. And then we're looking for two numbers that create a positive 3. So it's got to be the 5 and the 8. Remember, that's why we do the rainbow, to give us a new number. Okay, put the 5 and the 8 in. Now remember, the rainbow reminds us we multiplied by 5. So we now have to divide by 5. So one of these two can be divided by 5. Clearly, that is not going to work over here because of the 8. So it's not going to be that one. All right, so let's do our thing. 5 divided by 5 is 1. I'm not going to write the invisible 1x. And 5 divided by 5 is minus 1. Doesn't always work out like with 1s, by the way. And then we get a 5x plus 8. Okay? That's our thing. So really, I know that most of you guys are pretty good with this. You just got to get into that groove. The rainbow is the big thing. And then dividing at the end. All right, and then we do, opposite sign is going to be one of the answers. This one, unfortunately, I can't just do opposite sign. It's not going to be negative 8. It's got to be 5x plus 8, set it equal to 0, and solve. There's definitely going to be a minus 8 in the answer, but then you got to divide by that front number. So you always get a fraction on the rainbow, at least on one of them. So final answer is x equals negative 8 over 5. So there's my two answers. Okay? So again, this is nothing new for you guys. We're just putting it together with what we've done before. Okay? And again, I could use the quadratic formula for every one of these if I wanted to. X equals negative b plus or minus b, blah, 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 all that stuff. So I could just do that, and I would get the exact same answers. So for those of you guys who are good at factoring, try it. Okay. All right, next page is going to be your 4 problems. There are 2 where you just have to reduce it, which is the easy one. That's this one over here. All right, you just got to reduce it. And there's 2 where you got to do the rainbow. All right. Okay, so this is the page. You guys pause this, obviously copy the answers down. Again, there's 2 of them where you just have to reduce it and just double bubble with no rainbow. And then there's 2 that have a rainbow, okay? Give it your best shot. Like I said, honestly, I used to use the quadratic formula for everything until I started getting really good at factoring. So this is really just if you're good at factoring or need a little practice, this is how you do it. If not, you can always go to the quadratic formula. For this page today, just try to factor. 2 with a factor and rainbow. Okay, good luck.